Good.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a BankBeat's Quick Takes video. Today we have Anna Kooi, who is the National Financial Services Industry Leader and Partner with Wipfli Financial Services Practice. Anna is from Chicago, Illinois, and has more than 20 years of experience in serving a variety of public and private clients in the financial services industry. Anna has advised clients ranging from startups to Fortune 50 and brings a deep industry knowledge to the clients she services. In addition to core audit work, Anna has experience in attestation engagements, including internal audit, agreed upon procedures, and examination engagements. She has advised startups from the proof of concept through exit strategies and is accomplished in buy-sell due diligence, IPOs, and strategy consulting. Anna, thank you for joining us on this BankBeat's Quick Takes.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate the introduction.
Yeah, so outside of that introduction and bio, tell us a little bit about your background working with the banking industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I'm a mom to 4 children, so that always keeps me busy with their sports, equestrian riding, scouting, and multiple different community activities. But professionally, like you mentioned, I spent 20 years at Deloitte & Touche, always in the financial services space, working with financial institutions before coming over to Wipfli to lead the financial services industry for the firm. So I have always worked in the industry, bring a depth and breadth of knowledge of where the industry was, a lot of work around where the industry is headed, as well as working with the startups, so fintechs and others, which helps to bring a different view to our clients.
Very good. Well, that kind of leads me to the next question I have for you. Obviously, with your background, you've seen changes in the industry over the years and fintechs and the rise of that and banks partnering with them. Talk about, what has been the biggest change that you think has happened in the state of specifically community banking over the last few years, kind of that impact that it's having on the industry. Share a little insight for us on that.
Yeah, I think the biggest change isn't something new. However, it's been accelerated coming out of the pandemic. And that's what I call digital, right? So the expectations of the customer and community banks trying to meet the customer where they want to be. So there are certain transactions that they may want to perform digitally, whether it's opening new accounts, applying for loans. And then there might be other instances where they really want to go into the bank. And they want to sit down with that trusted advisor that they've had, that relationship that they've always built with their financial institution, and sit down and have those discussions. That might be their first home when they purchase. It may also be some wealth advisory as they look at maybe bringing in wealth from family members or others. And so what I call digital is really melting that digital environment with the physical locations, because we all know, we've seen in the headlines, not only bank branches closing, but just the overall foot traffic is going down. And so that's been a huge change for our community banks, is really understanding where is the market today, what are their customers expecting of them, and how can they meet them where they're looking to be served.
Absolutely, and that's a new term for me. So I appreciate I'm learning something today too. But I think that transition to digital, it certainly was accelerated by the pandemic, and as banks, who had taken maybe even drive-through lanes away, realized maybe they had a need for more. But certainly that digital transformation is super important, down even to the smallest of community banks. So talk about maybe some of the challenges related to that and the scaling of some of these solutions, even on the digitization, and some other challenges that you think, we've seen community banks face over the last few years, but maybe what are the top ones that they're facing today, and what do you see some of the challenges and even opportunities related to those in the future?
Yeah, I would say, we talked a lot about what's changing in the industry, but there is, the biggest piece of community banks that is not changing is their integral part to Main Street, right? So they reinvest their local dollars back into the community, and they're helping to create those local jobs. So that relationship banking philosophy is really ingrained in the way that they conduct their business. And so the digital side of it isn't going to change that. It's just going to adjust how they work through that. So what are the challenges then, as you ask? I think it's the pace of change, right? So just look at merely what's happening within the payments landscape for community banks. They're changing rapidly, moving away from what we all remember as the traditional payments. I mean, think of the last time you actually wrote a check, or even cash to these days is really going away. The first time ever that bank, swiping of credit cards has gone down, and we're converging in with these new instant payment systems, right? And also the emerging of the cryptocurrencies. Community banks have to understand what those are and how that's going to impact their, awareness and developments in that payment space, and assessing those new opportunities, as well as really mitigating the risks. Right, the regulators, see all of this as new risks within the entity, and so ensuring that their payment strategy aligns with their overall business plan is a huge, huge challenge for them today. And then you add on top of that all of the regulatory pressures. The OCC just issued where they're going to allow the special purpose national bank charters, allowing the fintech companies to come in and access the banking system. So that just adds even more pressure and increasing that pace of change for the community banks today. And then I would be remiss to not add in the, today in today's environment, the economy, right? What we're seeing with interest rates, the inverted yield curve, will we have a recession? Will we not? You add all of that on top with the challenges around talent, and banks have a lot on their minds right now.
Absolutely. You talked about fintechs and that whole adoption of technology. And I think often community banks that I speak with, and this goes to kind of during, your bio and your background, but that due diligence or vendor management certainly is a challenge. And so kind of leads me to the next question. How does Wipfli and how do you help community banks through the process of due diligence and vendor management selection, and when all this information is coming at the community banks with faster payments and instant payments, and there's just new laws, new regulations. Talk about bringing some support and assistance to the community banks, and how do you help?
Yeah, absolutely. So our biggest way is, helping them to really stay in front of what those changes are. Providing them what we're seeing in the industry, where it's headed, through conversations that we have with regulators, with their peers, and really helping them to better understand what their customer demands are, and then helping them to achieve those strategic priorities while staying in the lane of the regulators. And so, Wipfli has all of the services that, community banks need in order to work through these challenges, whether it's customer journey and new technologies that they might be implementing. Maybe it's having interviews with their customers to better understand what is it that they really want, so that they're not just chasing a shiny object and not getting the results that they're looking for. And as well as, regulators on staff that used to sit on the other side of the seat or table and allow them to have conversations with folks as to what's happening from a regulatory front. And so Wipfli really helps the community banks stay in front of the changes in the industry, and again, to help them achieve their strategic priorities.
Well, very good. Want to give you an opportunity, if you had a crystal ball and you're looking 10 years from now, kind of a wild card question here as we wrap up, but where do you see the community banking space, and where can they be most successful in servicing their local communities and customers?
Greg, I always say my crystal ball is cloudy, so don't anybody put any money on this one. But
mine too.
I see the industry overall really transforming into being that instant provider of knowledge throughout a customer's entire lives, right? So whether it is banking as we know it today, but wealth advisory, insurance, changes on the payment landscape, 10 years from now, I don't know that we'll have much around cash. I think a lot of it will continue to be the instant payments. I think crypto's here to stay. I don't think that it's going to go away, whether we have CBDC or it turns out to be Bitcoin, whatever it might be, but I think that's here to stay, decentralized finance. And, I think that the community banks really have to rely upon where they are, the relationships that they've built, and continue to be that safe and trusted institution in their communities that folks can rely upon.
All right. Well, Anna, thank you very much. And thank you to Wipfli for coming on and sharing some of your, forward-looking advice and information. And we appreciate you being a part of this BankBeat's Quick Takes video. For our audience, make sure to check out all the Quick Takes videos out on bankbeat.biz. And Anna, I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Thank you very much.
Greg.